Today we're doing an experiment. We're going to see what would happen if Marcelo Bielsa would take over the Argentinian national team and try and incorporate his tactics to see how far they'd get in the World Cup. We have the entire World Cup in this episode, so don't worry about missing part 2 because everything is going to be resolved today. Hopefully you enjoy it, and hopefully we can find out if Bielsa is the right one to give Messi his first World Cup win. On screen you can see the two formations that we use. The 3-3-1-3 formation is the one that he liked to use at Leeds, so we're not actually going to be playing that in game. We're going to use a 4-3-3 formation that adapts to be very similar in game. Of course, the World Cup mode on FIFA 23 has all the real fixtures, so we're actually going to be starting off with the real-life first match of the tournament, Argentina against Saudi Arabia at the Lusail Stadium. It's going to be quite an interesting match, and honestly, Lionel Messi is going to be a key part of our run, so it wasn't great that he got injured after 3 minutes. Thankfully, he'd run it off and he'd play through Lautaro Martinez, who's going to be the most important attacker in our team, probably even more important than Messi. The way that we're lining up involves wingbacks, it involves the 3 in midfield and the 1 behind the 3 attackers being very important. They're all providing chances just for Lautaro Martinez to try and stick a few away. I would imagine he's probably going to score more goals than Messi in this tournament, despite obviously being a worse player. It took him just 15 minutes of the tournament to get his first goal. He won the ball himself, he powered his way through, and he managed to score. We would actually get another chance. The ball would get into the box, but he would be blocked by Abdullah. Saudi Arabia were actually surprisingly good. Going into this tournament, I really didn't know much about Saudi Arabia. I thought maybe they'd have 1 or 2 good players. I know there was a 5-star skiller winger who they used to have, but I don't think he's even in the squad. Instead, they've got 2 big beasts at the back, and they have a really fast front 3. They like to press, or at least they do on FIFA, so there was a lot of pressing, there was a lot of sprinting. It was actually quite hard to build play out from the back. You can see from some of our chances, the majority of them were from outside the box. We did get a few inside the box, like that one there from Lautaro. But you can see here Saudi Arabia playing some nice possession and probably should have done better with the chance. Thankfully, we've got Martinez at centre-back and Martinez in goal. And combined, the 2 Martinezes did manage to bring us victory in our first game. It put us top of the group, and you can see the other 2 teams we're going to be playing. First of all, Mexico, and then after this match, we're playing against Poland. Winning the group's quite important because I think the winner would play against someone like the United States, whereas the loser plays against someone like Netherlands. So it is important to come first in the group stage. Let's see how we do against Mexico. Mexico again have a surprisingly good team. Hirving Lozano up front is always going to be quite lethal on FIFA, and for some reason a ball Raul Jimenez was actually playing up front. He might not have a real face anymore, but it didn't stop him from being just as good in the box. You can see they were pressing high themselves, just like Saudi Arabia, but we have something Mexico don't, because we've got Lionel Messi. You can see here just how important he is. He powered his way through despite being like 34 years old. He might not have the pace that Messi of old would have had, but he can still finish a ball. Speaking of finishing a ball, we brought on Papu Gomez as our attacking midfielder behind the front 3, and he volleyed one straight in the top corner. That was surprising, and it was honestly against the run of play. Mexico really did deserve to be winning this match to begin with. Raul Jimenez again, there you can see his nice bald head did have a decent chance. It would be Papu Gomez though, breaking away from a corner that came from that chance. He would find Acuna on the wing, and Acuna would run up. This is exactly what we want our fullbacks to be doing, getting into the box. And he's paid off right there with his big run, resulting in a second goal for Argentina. Now we just had to kind of see it out. Lozano would have another chance, but Martinez, of course, is always going to be a bit of a beast in goal. And the referee would blow. We've got a 1-0 against Saudi Arabia. We got a 2-0 against Mexico. Does that mean there's going to be a 3-0 against Poland? Well, it doesn't really matter because we've already won the group. You can see we're 4 points ahead with just 1 game to go. So we did rest some of our better players. We gave Messi a go playing at striker. We brought Dybala in. We brought Buendia in. It wasn't really that important of a game for us. We just needed to make sure our players were fit and not getting injured for the next round. Dybala was playing on the right, of course, Messi on the left. It was a bit of an unusual combination, and Messi probably should have put us 1-0 up just there after 26 minutes. With it being the last game of the group stage, we didn't want to press too much. Messi probably was the only real way we were going to score a goal in this game, with shots like that, of course, coming very close, hitting the crossbar. We were almost there, but not quite. Messi on the ball, you can see how silky smooth he is. Every time we get the ball, we want to just turn, we want to go left and right, try and go round players. But unfortunately, we couldn't quite score on that opportunity. Lewandowski, however, had something that we don't, and that's a really powerful shot. However, we do have a lot of accuracy in our front three, and Dybala showed it right there, and he managed to slot it into the corner. 1-1 was the score, and that's actually how the game would end. We got a draw, fair enough. We already knew we were top of the group. We weren't pressing, we didn't want to waste stamina, and I guess 1-1, a fair enough result in the end. So, it's time to find out who we are playing, and it's going to be second place in that other group you can see at the bottom. Let's look at all the groups quickly. Netherlands gone through, England, United States gone through, that's our group there, Argentina and Mexico, France and Denmark, so we'll be playing Denmark in the next round, Germany and Spain expected, Belgium and Croatia expected, Brazil, Switzerland, yeah, pretty much as expected. You can see all the groups right there on the screen, and we're going to start off with a game against Denmark, probably play against Netherlands or the United States, and then maybe France in the semi-final. It's going to be a big lot of matches. It's going to be an important few games. So let's get started. I don't know if it's based on distance to the ground. If it is, I can't imagine we're any closer than Denmark. But we have to expect quite a tough game against a team of the quality of Denmark. Of course, they are quite far in the Euros, and they started off with an absolute blitz these first 15 minutes. It was non-stop shot after shot. Here you can see another one, Skov Olsen and Eriksen. Of course, their danger man linking up. Eriksen in the box, you got to expect he's probably going to score that, but somehow Martinez kept it out. But we weathered the early storm, and it was time for some chances of our own. The first one was Messi playing through a really nice ball. Again, probably should have scored there, but Lo Celso isn't the best finisher. If we were a club team, we'd probably sign someone who's a bit better in the box than him to play this role. But, you know, we would survive 0-0 at half-time. We're getting a bit closer towards a final result. Romero was an absolute boss this entire tournament, his passing, his defensive ability, but it was Martinez who would have the next chance up front. I really rate basically every single player in this Argentina squad, so if you're playing career mode, make sure you pick up as many of these as you can. I don't want to be obvious and say Messi was the best player, he absolutely was, but really some of the lesser players in this squad, Romero, Lo Celso, Paredes, they're all really good players, so if you're one of those mid-level table teams, make sure you buy them. I was so impressed by the amount of Dybala curve he put on that cross, by the way. What a layup it was, and what a finish from Martinez. The Denmark defender played us miles onside, but somehow that was it. We only really had one big chance, and we managed to score it. You can see the players were happy. Acuna there with Martinez, Lo Celso. Every single player in our squad contributed to get that win and to get us through to the quarterfinals of the World Cup, where we'd play America. They'd beaten Holland, so it was going to be quite a tough game. If you look at America's squad, almost every single player they have is rapid. They've got Dest at fullback, they've got Aronson, who would constantly press you from attacking midfield. They had Fuentes at front, I believe he was called. And of course, who can forget the LeBron James of soccer, Christian Pulisic himself. We're going to have a quick look at some of the introduction graphics here. I haven't shown them for the first couple of games, but if you've watched this far, you're probably in it for the long haul. You can see there's the table where you can see who we're playing against. United States anthem playing in the background, probably really quietly for you so I don't get copyright claimed by some kind of American government organization. But overall, if you want to know what I think about this game mode, I actually do really rate it. I think you should definitely give it a go if you're on the fence, and you know, if you've watched this far, you're probably interested in doing World Cups and seeing fictional World Cups. So 100% I recommend you give it a go. Of course, it's free to play. If only they'd added it to career mode, it would be almost perfect. But anyway, let's get back to the football. USA and Argentina were both big deals at some of the first World Cups nearly 100 years ago, so this could be a bit of a historical clash to see who's the best, North or South America. Well, it was actually North America who got off to the best start. You see there, another Emi Martinez save. But have a look at that. There's definitely contact between Otamendi and the American, but somehow he's gone over and somehow a penalty's been given. It doesn't matter that he can barely take a penalty with 61 penalty stat, he still tucked it away and put America 1-0 up early on. Messi would then be the playmaker for Lautaro Martinez. A good dribble saw Lo Celso on the edge of the box, but unfortunately, that's just about gone over the bar. Messi again pinging long balls into the channel, and this time Martinez would chip one up and then wham one in. What a good finish that is. 1-1 just before the half an hour mark, and that was super important if we wanted to get back into the game. Again, Messi was being the playmaker off the right, this time passing it through to Gonzalez. Di Maria unfortunately got injured in the last game. How similar was that to the other goal Martinez scored that was set up from Dybala? But unfortunately this time we couldn't get the goal. We'd go in at halftime 1-1, which is a fair enough result. America were very fast. They were very high pressing. They were really good on the ball. I was very surprised at their performance, especially Gio. But the biggest mistake that happened in this game was from myself, Geografifa. I forgot to record the second goal, and it's been totally lost now because I've turned off my console. So unfortunately, you're just going to have to believe me that Messi scored to make it 2-1 after about 65 minutes. But we didn't stop pushing for a third goal, and thank you, America, for sending one our way. They passed it straight to Rodrigo de Paul. What a finish it was. Awful mistake from Stefan. But look at these celebrations. Look what it means to this Argentina team. They're one step closer to getting Messi his final trophy that he's missing. I'm really enjoying using these Bielsa tactics. I think they're super cool. They're super fun to use as well, with the high pressing, with everyone getting forwards, with wing backs being key. And I think it does help unleash the best of Messi. But there you go, we won 3-1. Good result. Shame we missed that second goal. It wasn't anything special really. It was just an inside foot curler from about the 6-yard box. But it did mean quite a lot in the game, so I'm upset that I missed that one out. Anyway, now we had the biggest game and probably the hardest challenge of this entire tournament. Depending on who wins the other semi-final, the final would be against Croatia or Belgium, so France is definitely the toughest challenge we could be asking for at this point. It was of course going to be a big game. There's a lot of history between Argentina and France. You might remember David Trezeguet used to play for France. He was born in Argentina. Or you might remember Gonzalo Higuain used to play for Argentina. He was born in France. So there is quite a lot of history between these two nations, stealing players from each other. Of course, they're two of the best teams of all time, best nations at football. So they were always competing in the latter stages of competitions. And of course, this is no different, with the winner of this playing in the World Cup final, playing against France with Mbappe, with I think they had Diaby, Benzema, Griezmann all starting. It was going to be a really tough test, but I believed in Argentina, I believed in Bielsa, so let's see how we get on. It was actually Koeman who would start on the right instead of Griezmann, but Mbappe, of course, was always going to be a nuisance. This guy is insane to play against on any difficulty in any game mode. And this is going to be no exception. His ball control, his pace, his just rapid movements, all very lethal. Unfortunately, Benzema didn't have the touch that he does in real life, so he just heads it straight to Emi Martinez. That was good news for us. Otherwise, it could easily be 2-0 down after 10 minutes. Messi, of course, was always going to be key to how we play. We like him cutting inside. And that was very similar to how the USA goal went. In fact, he couldn't quite find the target this time, but I really like that kind of movement and that kind of shooting. We did wish we had Messi on this one-on-one, but thankfully our tactics saw Lo Celso pushing up beyond the striker despite playing central midfield, and it paid off big time there with a goal for Argentina to put us 1-0 up in the World Cup semi-final. However, with that front line that France have, it's always going to be so tricky to try and defend. You can see the pressing, the pace, the power. Every single player was pretty much better than one of ours, other than probably Lionel Messi. But it's going to be a really tough challenge for the rest of this game. Even Kante's bombing forwards into midfield. If we were going to win this, we needed to outwork France, and things like that from Messi, the captain, are exactly what we needed. With Varane catching him, Messi decided to pull it across the Lautaro Martinez one-on-one. He would score. It was all of a sudden 2-0, but unfortunately, he was very marginally offside, so it would actually remain 1-0 at this point. But we proved we could put the ball in the back of the net. Messi was on fire. This was by far his best match. I think it was probably because France were playing a 3 at the back against 3 up front, so we did have a lot of space with our really wide style of play. But the part of the tactic I really recommend you use is having an attacking midfielder on get into the box and get forwards. It's the reason that Lo Celso was able to play that pass through to Martinez, because his positioning was spot on, and what a finish it was. 2-0 up, and suddenly we felt like we were in control of the game. Not for long though, because only 3 minutes later Mbappe would beat our centre-back. He had a good jump and he had a good bit of accuracy on the header, and then he had a weird celebration where you're not quite sure what's going to happen next. But anyway, this put the game on tenterhooks. We weren't quite sure what was going to happen. With half an hour left, France, of course, were going to push forwards. Our tactics also meant we were going to be constantly pushing forwards and pressing for that extra goal. This just meant we had a really exciting last half an hour on our hands. Of course, France are always going to try and play it out for the back, but we've seen this doesn't always work in this World Cup, especially when we press as high as we do. All of a sudden, we had 4 or 5 players up. I'm not sure if that was the right decision, but it was another shot on target. The game started to run out of time for France. They now only had 15 minutes to try and score a goal. Kante and Benzema linked up well, but yet another great save from Emi Martinez. This guy is the guy that's keeping us in this World Cup. You see here, Koeman tries to get away, but we slide in. Otamendi gets another corner, but thankfully we would just head that one away. With just a couple of seconds left, Kante would have the ball on the edge of the box, but he would only find Tagliafico and we would get rid of the ball, and we were through to that World Cup final. A big deal for everyone in Argentina, a big deal for manager Marcelo Bielsa. It was vindicating that maybe his tactics are still relevant in football, and it meant we were playing one of Belgium and Croatia in the final. Why not pause the video and see if you can guess which one in the comments? But it was actually going to be last time's 3rd place runners-up, Belgium. Of course, Croatia got to the final last time. Belgium were 3rd place, beating England in the playoff, but this was the real big deal, the final against Argentina for that trophy. Let's see how we get on. Hopefully, we can finally win Messi his first World Cup. Of course, Belgium, very dangerous team. They've got Kevin De Bruyne. They've got Dries Mertens up front, who's always really good on FIFA. Of course, they've got Lukaku as well. He's always a beast. It's going to be tough for our less physical centre-backs of Romero and Otamendi to keep a hold on him. But this was the big deal. Everything we've worked for in this video, the last 16.5 minutes, means we were in the final. Captain De Bruyne against Captain Messi. The Lusail Stadium was packed. Everyone was watching on TV at home. All 6 billion people in the world were watching this match. Let's hope we do them proud. Let's hope we do Messi proud. But it didn't look like we were going to. With just 3 minutes gone, they had their first chance. De Bruyne then recycled the ball to Eden Hazard. He ran into the box, tried to pass it across. Batshuayi is actually starting up front, and we would just about survive the first attack. There would have to be another 15 minutes before the next bit of play. It was Messi with a really bad touch from being pressed by De Gea. That would mean the ball would then be bounced around by Belgium. They'd get into the box and Meunier, thankfully only Meunier was on that shot. It would go over the bar. Messi would then be leading our attack. What a ball that is. Surely Martinez can score this one-on-one. Tries to go round the goalkeeper for some reason, but unfortunately he's messed up. Courtois is never getting beaten that easily. Batshuayi was starting. I'm not sure why. Maybe Lukaku's injured. I'm not totally sure why they would start Batshuayi. We took him out off the ball anyway for no reason, but that only seemed to inspire Mertens as he ran towards the goal. But yet another world-class save from Emi Martinez. One thing he couldn't do though was save that shot there. Eden Hazard just hit that too hard and we were 1-0 down just before half-time. Not really the celebration you would expect from scoring the first goal in the World Cup final. You can't imagine too many kids are going to be copying that one at school tomorrow. It would then be a couple more attacks. You can see how Belgium like to get the ball on the edge of the box. This time though, there's no real stopping that. It's near post. You've got to say that Martinez probably could have got a hand on it, but we needed to respond and fast. Martinez then used some of his physicality, didn't try and go around the goalkeeper, and only 3 minutes later, it was 2-1. This was shaping up to be a really good game. Martinez wanted to get the ball back in play. We wanted to get attacking as soon as possible. Martinez and Messi again would link up here. Martinez would drive into the box. He would try and beat a player. He would get tagged, but didn't go down. So unfortunately, no foul in the box for us. Messi's shot also blocked. Couple of good chances there for Argentina. With the way we play, it's always going to be full throttle all the game. You can see that leaves us having some big deficiencies at the back, which Vanaken, who's come on instead of Lukaku, did try and exploit, but the ball would then bounce around and Mertens would score a goal. Really felt a little bit unfair. 3 of their goals all could have been prevented. The first one was, fair enough, 1-on-1, blasted in. The second one bounced around and then went near post. Martinez probably could have saved it. And that one was just pure luck from Belgium. We would be breaking away. We saw Messi making a run out on the wing, but the ref would blow his whistle and we had actually lost in the World Cup final. What a big moment that is for Belgium. It was an okay performance from us, but you can see there they dominated on shots, passing, and possession. If you've got any suggestions for teams and nations and managers you want me to do a video like this with, I'm going to try and do quite a few this week before the World Cup starts because I'm super excited for the World Cup. Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe and give it a like if you enjoyed any of my goals. Thank you all for watching, really do appreciate the support, especially if you watched all 20 minutes. Thank you, and goodbye.